What can happen in a week? Damn, a lot. So, not only has West Virginia Mountaineers hired a new assistant coach, not only are they in the mix for a top 75, top 50 guard, I think the official ranking is number 454 overall. Not only has all that been going on, but West Virginia is being put together as well. Somebody we all know and love is in the midst of it, doing just an incredible job putting together one heck of a roster that's going to make a run to that Final Four. I got a feeling. Let's talk to him right now. We're talking about Chase Harler, man. How's it going, Coach? How does that sound?
Yeah, what's going on? I appreciate you having me. The coach. We can dive into it a little bit. I've told the story a couple of times about the coaching gig, but I'm excited. Like you mentioned, TBT is always a fun time in the summer. There's not a lot of basketball going on. Yeah. Mountaineer fans are passionate about Mountaineers, and it's another event and another team to cheer for in the blue and gold.
Absolutely. Before we get started, guys, I'm going to do the ad reads here really quick, so give me just a second as we pause for some pay the bills. Today's video is sponsored by Magic Shine Auto Spa and Tint in Morgantown, West Virginia. At Magic Shine, your vehicle's care is their top priority. They use only the highest quality products to ensure your car not only looks its best, but is also protected and maintained with the utmost care. From window tinting with top-of-the-line Max Pro Tint to protective ceramic coatings from Diamond Protect, they've got you covered. Drive in today and experience the difference at Magic Shine Auto Spa and Tint, where your car shines like new. Shine on, Morgantown. And this episode of Hoops from the Hills is sponsored by Dutch Miller Automotive, where friends and family pricing means you get the best deal right up front on any new or pre-loved vehicle in stock every time. With brands like Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Kia, Hyundai, Ford, GMC, Buick, and Subaru, the Dutch Miller Automotive family is always growing and ready to put you in the car or truck you've been searching for. Check out our inventory across the state of West Virginia at DutchMillerAuto.com or come in today, the home of friends and family pricing, only at a Dutch Miller Automotive store near you. All right, man. So we got that over with. We can talk turkey. Chase, the last time I talked to you, you were affiliated with Country Roads Trust. And now here you are, you're embarking on a coaching career. Like you said, you're going to dive into that. Just walk us through it, man. Now, how did this all go down?
Talking about the coaching opportunity? Yeah. So, James Long's been our coach for the last maybe 3 or 4 years. And he was, the head coach at West Virginia Tech, very successful, stepped away to pursue a different coaching path. And then obviously wanted to get his foot back into, I guess, more traditional coaching. I mean, he was coaching prep school down in Lake Norman area, but before that was just doing skills development. But yeah, the whole plan was James to be the head coach again. And he was our head coach for, 3 or 4 weeks. And then he accepted the position at the University of Charleston in West Virginia, which I'm super happy for him. That's going to be a great spot for him. And, when he accepted that position, I gave it a few days, reached out to him and said, hey, are you still able to be our head coach? And he was like, yeah, it's all good. I mean, there's no issues. But I think as time went on, and I respect his decision, him stepping away from his program for essentially 3 to 4 weeks probably was going to do more harm than good. And, we had a conversation about it, and he just said, I still want to be a part of it, which he still will be an assistant coach and help in Pittsburgh during the games. But, once he said that, we kind of went back and forth and about some different ideas of guys that could step up. And, eventually I was just like, you know what, I'll step up and be the head coach. And it's interesting. I think, as the GM of the team, there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes. A lot of people don't realize, which number one thing is fundraising. We have my assistant general manager, Greg Richardson. He helps with that as well. We had a guy in Buchanan help, Mitchell Shaw helping Buchanan. But yeah, I mean, fundraising, logistics, budgeting, and then throw in roster management. Now thinking of a game plan, how we're going to, win some games. So there's a lot to it, but I'm excited.
So this is obviously pretty new to you. I mean, I don't know how much coaching you've done, if any, before this. I mean, obviously on the floor.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, so this past year, John Flowers, who started West Virginia, started as an alumni game, then transitioned into the TBT. Started an AAU program last year, only had like 2 or 3 teams, and then expanded this year. I mean, we probably have, I don't know, 7, 8 teams, different age groups. So I was actually coaching 16U before the summertime. So it's a little bit different, but I've been around basketball my whole life. And
oh yeah, definitely.
I mean,
that's not a slight.
One thing to just know basketball, but be able to translate it into
Right.
a game plan. I have good assistant coach. Like I said, James Long's so good to be involved. Kevin Jones is good to be an assistant coach.
Okay.
We haven't announced it yet, but Tyler Chang will be an assistant coach who was on staff for WVU for the last, I don't know, 6, 7 years. He was the statistical and analytical guy last year for him. He's been a great friend of mine. And then we have a guy from Indiana State named Alex Pleaver, who is friends with James. That'll step in and help as well.
So is that where – is it Bledson?
Yeah. So that's where he came from. Yep.
Okay, awesome. Connections, man. So congratulations, man. I think you're going to do an awesome job. And hopefully this – I mean, I don't know how far you want to take this, but hopefully this gets you, primed and ready for maybe some programs to look at you. And you never know, man. You could be the next Joe Mazzulla. Yeah,
we'll see. I think that's kind of the good thing about maybe me stepping in and being the coach where, to be honest, I don't have any aspirations to – I don't know. Who knows? Maybe this thing goes well and I love it so much and I want to pursue it. But, I mean, sitting here talking to you, I don't really have aspirations to make a career out of it. So, realistically, there's really no pressure I'm feeling. You know what I mean? Obviously, I know all the players on the team really well. I played with most of them and been around a ton where I'm not nervous at all by any means. I think we'll have some practices and we'll have a good game plan and style play going into when we play in Pittsburgh.
So you mentioned the players. Let's get into that a little bit. I'm looking at this roster. I think there's we get 11 guys. Is that what it is?
Yeah, so a couple of those guys won't be probably playing. We'll have a 10-man roster. We haven't announced a couple guys yet, but the guys we have announced are, I don't want to miss anybody. Tash Sherman, Tavon Myers, John Holton, Issa Ahmad, Wesley Harris, Sagaba Kanate, and I think that might be all we have announced so far. I know you can the BBT website, but we like to post it on our stuff first before we start really going into it.
Right. Yeah, I've got a few more names in that. So obviously you can't go into them then. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I see Devin Williams was on there. A couple others.
He's signed up. He's still questionable. We're still trying to figure out his schedule.
Yeah. Right. Well, he only played on one of the best teams in the country he plays in with DeMarcus Cousins and all those guys.
Yeah, and then Sean McNeil's on the roster.
Him too.
He that's one of my best friends, and he just got back from his first year playing professionally and wanted to spend some time back home. I mean, if I need to convince him to play if something would happen, I'm sure he'd step up and be willing to do it. But, after a 9-10 month season, he kind of just wants to spend time with friends and family, which trust me, I don't blame him at all. But we'll see.
Can I throw some other names out, or is that not something you want to get into?
Let's just keep it at that for now.
Okay, because there's a couple guys that was there before I was wondering about, but understandable.
Paul Flowers is on the roster. I'm not sure if he's going to suit up and really play. I think I don't know. He might sit on the bench. I don't know what he's going to do. John's a mystery man.
So if I mentioned somebody that you said wasn't going to play, I just have a list here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can remember who you said is iffy. But let's go down the list a little bit here and just break down a couple of these guys a little bit deeper. Tavon Myers, who's a regular on the TBT team. I mean, this is 4th or 5th one that I can remember. He's a Press Virginia era guy. Was part of that 2014 Sweet 16 run.
Yep.
Averaged 14 points per game overseas or 19 points per game over this past season overseas. Talk about him a little bit, what he adds to this just as a scorer.
Yeah, I mean, Tavon's been around since the beginning. And if you've ever been around Tavon Myers, which a lot of people have, can't say a bad thing about him. High energy guy, just brings a lot to the table other than just playing. I mean, he's a like I said, energy guy, glue guy, and a lot of these guys that are coming back to play. I personally wanted them to come back, and like I said, when we go down the line, I'll mention the ones I did. Obviously, I wanted all of them, but in regards to a lot of WVU fans, these guys are, on ESPN. We're playing on ESPN for 4 years and whatnot. And then you go overseas, and you kind of forget about them. And, a lot of these guys, I don't want to speak for them, but some of them would probably say they didn't showcase their full capabilities at WVU just for the style of play, role, whatever. And you have to accept that to play. But a lot of these guys have expanded their games, and Tavon Myers is one of them. I mean,
yes,
Tavon, if he was in the interview right now, he'd probably say he wasn't extremely happy how his WVU career went personally. He's a scorer and just didn't score the ball as well as maybe he wanted to, but he's definitely shown that overseas, and he's playing high level and making good money doing it now.
So Silver Mark says, thank you for joining us this evening, Chase. Love that you mentioned that, because obviously Coach Hugs had a specific style, and sometimes players are asked to make sacrifices in their game for the betterment of the team, for better, for worse.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who I think benefited from Hugs in the system and the way they play with, wasn't known for being the best spacing, really loved to play inside the 3-point line quite a bit, right? And I think Taz Sherman's a guy that, mid-range guy, really just killed it in the system that Hugs had.
Yeah, I mean,
Taz, perfect for what they needed. Can you talk about him a bit?
Yeah, I mean, I played with Taz, and like I said, he's a great scorer. He's a 3-level scorer. He's not just like you mentioned, catch and shoot guy. I mean, he can score at all 3 levels and knows how to play the game. Has been playing. I think he just finished his 2nd year overseas, and he's doing well for himself. And one of those guys that was very good at WVU, and most likely definitely got better since he's left. And with all that being said, all these guys take pride on the defensive end, and he knows what it means to sit down and play defense, and takes pride in it. So he was when we were looking for someone to fill another guard role, it was a no-brainer to add Taz.
You can't really get much better.
No.
Besides guys that aren't actually in the league playing.
Yeah.
So, his last year, he averaged 17 points a game. He had 75 assists, which led the team, and 41 steals, which also led the team. So just to your point, he's more than a scorer.
Yeah.
He's a guy that gets his hands in the lane. He's long. I love the addition, and I'm really excited about him, along with did you say Tarek Phillip? Is he on the team or no?
We're still trying to figure out some.
Okay. Sorry about that. I couldn't remember.
You're fine. We're just trying to figure out some details with him so far.
Okay. So in the forwards, we got Sags, who is obviously one of the more famous guys in recent memory, WV basketball. Just an unbelievable shot blocker.
Yeah.
He's all-time blocks leader in school history.
Yeah.
Has he expanded his game any? Is he still primarily a defender?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's his bread and butter is blocking shots, and that's why he gains a lot of attention overseas for getting signed and continuing to have a job. But like I mentioned before, all these guys are asked to do more when they get overseas. So the clips I've seen and the games I've watched of Sags recently, I mean, he's developed a reliable jump shot and a pick and pop threat, but his bread and butter is going to be on the defensive end for us and rebounding and then getting out in transition and catching lobs. But he's definitely expanded his game. And we mentioned with the style of play of WVU, some guys had to sacrifice a little bit. I mean, we're going to have a little bit of that during the TBT. I mean, guys are going to have to buy into a certain role, and the teams that win the TBT. They have all the players are high level overseas players like we have, but accept the role and put the team first.
Are there favorites with this yet?
So the bracket comes out tomorrow actually. So
after come out tomorrow, okay.
Yeah, so I'm sure they'll start talking about what region and what teams favor to win the region and whatnot.
Do you want to speak on where you think you're going to land, or just leave it alone?
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll probably be a top 4 seed in the Pitt region. They obviously try to geographically put teams that are around that area. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's, I don't know, like a Penn State or a Syracuse or somewhere close to that. But yeah, I guess we'll find all that out tomorrow, and then we'll start kind of planning a little bit because, you don't know what these teams are going to run. You just kind of talk about personnel. So we'll worry about that first game, maybe next week or the week after. And then after that, it's just let players make plays because you don't have much time to prepare.
I got to throw this comment up just because it's such a nice thing to say, Civil Mark, because it'll match any super chats anybody puts up. That's extremely nice of you, man, and you don't have to do that, but I appreciate you trying to get people to do that. It means a lot. Everybody knows this is my full-time job, so whatever comes in is appreciated. So thanks, Mark. Thanks. Appreciate that, Tosh, who's a really, really big supporter of mine as well. He said, thanks for coming on, Chase.
Appreciate it.
Doris Workman said, we bleed gold and blue.
Nice.
You mentioned Wes Harris, right?
Yeah.
He might fall into that category of a guy who didn't see everything out of himself he wanted to see as a player. Talk about what he adds to the team a little bit if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a great wing defender that can arguably guard 1 through 5. Like you just mentioned before, he was more of a defensive guy at WVU where, a lot of these guys get overseas and be able to expand their game. And I know he takes, his offseason serious. I follow him on social media. When I was overseas, we used to play video games all the time. And we'll get into Issa and Mod too, because Issa was part of that crew as well. But, Wes takes his game very serious. And I don't know if he's still with Javon Carter, but he was working out with JC for the last week or two.
Nice.
JC was good friends. And so, like I said, he definitely, takes his craft serious. And that's one of those guys I wanted to bring back to allow him to kind of showcase the Mountaineer fans how much better he's gotten.
Awesome. And you mentioned Issa. So obviously this is what I'm excited about. Talking about, especially when he came on, when he came in, the guy that really got better over the time. He was at West Virginia, but was also, he had some publications behind him. He was touted coming in. He's played for Cyprus, Hungary, Argentina, Germany. Obviously, he had some big scoring outputs at West Virginia against Kansas. Helped us upset those guys when they were in the top 5. Man, what's a guy like Issa Ahmad add as a true big?
Yeah, Issa's he's almost like a hybrid where he has the capability of dribbling the basketball, but also putting him in the low post against a smaller 3 or 4 and letting him go to work. I personally think, like you just mentioned, Issa would probably say the same thing. His full WVU career probably didn't go how he wanted it to. He's definitely grown up and matured from that, and that's why I have no issue and no problem allowing Issa to be on the team. It's one of my great friends as well, and I personally think, put aside some of the other instances that happened while he was at WVU, he's probably one of the most underappreciated WVU players in the last 10, 15 years. 1,000-point scorer. Part of 2 Sweet 16 teams as I believe a starter on those teams, and hell of a basketball player. So I'm really excited to get him back.
Yeah, whatever that was that happened in 2019 it's things happen when you're young. Goodness gracious, man. Like people on here know my history. As somebody who's in recovery that takes that very seriously and is proud of where I come from. Last thing I would ever do, is judge a person for something they did when they were young. I see now I'm getting to the point to where I don't remember if you said.
So we have John. We also have John Holton.
That's okay. That's who I was going to ask about next, but I was afraid to.
No, yeah, John Holton will be a part of the team. He was actually our first, signee. John's been he's played at the TBT before and had a hell of a WVU career, head of that press, and John, and then back in November, I believe, unfortunately, John's mother passed away, and he reached out to me a couple weeks later, and essentially was like, hey, like I just kind of want something to look forward to, something to work for, just kind of get my mind off things, and want to honor her. So once he said that, it was a no-brainer to get John on the team, and other than doing things for the fans and the community and representing WVU, we still have a tight bond, and to be able to do things like that and help people through tough times with the game of basketball and representing our state, that's pretty special.
It's the most special thing, for me. It's the one thing in my life that, this is my way of doing it. Obviously, I'll wear the West Virginia badge with honor on this show, and always have and always will.
Yeah.
but to play for the Mountaineers like you did it'd be the equivalent of making the Olympics for me, like, or like, like winning a gold medal at the Olympics. That's what that would be like for me. So obviously I'm what you would call a nutcase super fan. So, which is why I love having people like you on, and I just can't wish enough greatness for you, man. I think you guys are going to be really good. Time will tell to see how far you guys go, but you've got a lot of winners on this team.
Yep.
I mean, you can start it with John Flowers, who was a member of the Final Four, Big East champ, and just in my opinion, one of the better coaching decisions in a tournament ever. When Coach Huggins really stuck in that 1-3-1, and he was such a big part of that 1-3-1. Obviously with Wellington, and I love watching them do that. So winners all up and down the roster here, including yourself. We talked about last time I spoke with you, what could have been on that COVID team, what could have happened. We think you guys had a team that was really on fire, caught steam, and was really dangerous heading into that thing. So unfortunate that never got to play out. But I could say the same thing about Javon and Deuce not playing together. Had one stayed 1 year extra or not, So I'm a big fan of Sizer when it comes to stuff like that. So I think one last thing I think a lot of people would want to know is kind of behind the scenes how this works. Something I had written down to ask was, how do they determine venue? Is the West Virginia ever up to be a venue for this, or is it something that you have to apply for in advance?
No,
how does that work?
Yeah, it's solely just conversations with the TBT, and the last I think 4 years. Last 4 years it's been in West Virginia. 3 years in Charleston, 1 year in Wheeling last year, and they just wanted to get a different feel. If I had to pick anywhere else, it would probably be Pittsburgh, because it's so close to Morgantown.
Of course, right.
Obviously it stinks that it's not in West Virginia anymore, but that's just a decision they make. And Pitt put a team in it last year. They had a quick exit in the first round, but
we love to hear that.
They felt like they had some potential, and Pittsburgh is a little bit bigger town and venue, and could probably draw. Ticket sales is the name of the game, and when we're in Charleston,
of course,
us and heard that gaining all the tickets. So when one of us lost, ticket sales would drop, a lot. So to be in Pittsburgh, they can kind of draw from some different alumni teams that are, 2 or 3 hours away, where even if that host team or the 2 seed loses, ticket sales can continue to stay up.
Another question people have is this voluntary up until we win the prize, or is there contracts that are worked out?
Yeah. So what we do, we start planning this in January. Myself, Greg Richardson is a key factor to this with the fundraising side, and our content guy named Dave Ryan. He does a phenomenal job of creating all of our content and getting it out there. But yeah, we have some basic conversations in January, but February we really start coming together with our sponsorship packages and what we're going to be able to provide to our sponsors. And I can be transparent. The name of the game, we have to have money to survive, and we've had the same, I call them corporate sponsors, most of the same corporate sponsors the last 2 or 3 years. So we're obviously providing we're providing value to their business, and they also feel they're helping us out. So,
of course.
But as far as that $1 million, you don't get it unless you win it. But we've been we've done a great job financially raising money where we can actually provide some money to these guys that are coming in, that are taking away from their time from their friends and family. They're being compensated for their time, and hotels are taken care of. And we try to get locally some restaurants to step up and provide some meals, so they're well taken care of. That's
amazing to hear. I'm glad to hear that. Wish could even do more for them. But so that's great. I'm glad to know that bit of intel, because it's just something you always wonder about with these CBT things. And I'm sure it varies from squad to squad. I'm sure, probably a team like the guys over at Stores, I'm imagining, are really well taken care of. Just different things like that. So that's awesome. I curious to know as well, you talked about going to Pittsburgh. are the Pitt Panthers? Are there any teams? Are there any names on their team this year that would Mountaineer fans would remember from the Big East days, like a Sam Young?
Yeah.
Like,
to be completely honest with you, I've not looked at their roster.
Right, which is fair. You're just not putting yours together.
No, that's a fair question. So probably more so. So I wear a lot of hats with this. Where,
right,
like I said, I'm the general manager. So at the end of the day, I'm making all the financial decisions. I'm coming up with these sponsorship packages for the most part with the help of Dave Ryan, and we're pushing it out to people. We're reaching out to people. So that's really been my main focus the last probably 2.5, 3 months is just making sure we have enough to survive, essentially. But probably next week, because we've done a really, really good job with our events, everything's kind of already taken care of. Next week, I'll wear the hat of being a coach and start really diving into some teams in our region after we see the draw we get and start really, focusing more so on the coaching side rather than the general manager side.
Gotcha. Well, that makes total sense. I didn't mean to catch you off guard there.
No, you're fine.
Do you guys have a YouTube channel?
So we
you guys have content. Get it out here, man.
Yeah. So our content is at Final Forecast. That's affiliated.
I know that obviously.
That's affiliated with John Flowers and Kevin Jones's podcast. They do all of our content. All of our social posts about events, player announcements, our sponsors. Anything Best Virginia related is at Final Forecast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Gotcha. Well, that shoots down every extra question I had beyond that. Then.
Yeah.
I knew a guy that was really good that would have done that for you.
Yeah.
Matthew Swanson wants to know: do you have an idea on the style of offense you want to run?
Yeah. So we have a younger team per se. I think we have first and foremost a defensive minded team where. You get stops, you get out in transition. So, all these guys all these guys are professional basketball players in Europe. And, kind of for the most part, the style of play in Europe is kind of the same in a way. So we're definitely going to implement a lot of European style, quick sets and continuities. And like I said, I don't have all the X's and O's right now, but I definitely want to play fast. And, you see it with Joe Mazzulla. You see it with the teams that win the championship. The name of the game is possessions. How many more possessions can you have than the other team? And that's from defensive stops and getting good shots early in the shot clock. So definitely a fast style of play is where we're headed.
I like what Sybil Mark said too. He said maybe we could change the name to Beast.
I like that.
So. Jada K wants to know, how can we support the team besides buying one of the official shirts?
Yeah, so a couple of our events coming up, which they'll be blasted on our socials this week more so. First and foremost is just coming out and supporting in person. We actually have a free admission exhibition game in Buchanan at Buchanan Upshur High School. That's Friday, July 12th at 7 p.m. Playing against pretty good competition. But yeah, first and foremost, just come out and show support in person. Saturday after that following exhibition game, we have a golf scramble in Morgantown where you can do a whole sponsor, a team, or both. That's also on our social media. And then we will be having a youth camp on July 14th at Milan Park in Morgantown, 1 to 4. So those are ways you can get involved. And then we'll also come out with some merchandise here in the next week or two where we'll get that online and you guys can, get a hold of that for a pretty good price. And that's another way you guys can support as well.
Awesome, man. I appreciate that. All right, guys. So at that Final Forecast, if you want any information regarding to at Final Forecast.
Yep, at Final Forecast.
If you have any information you want to know about TBT or Best Virginia or Beast Virginia, which is like what Mark suggested there, do that. Because I think these guys deserve our love and affection. Most definitely, even still. Just because they're out of the public eye per se doesn't mean that they're still not Mountaineers, which I know we have no problem as Mountaineer fans supporting those guys. But one of the reasons I like to have Chase on here is, number one, I like what he stands for and what he did with the trust when he was there and what he's doing now. But he's also been gracious enough to give me his time. So I really do appreciate that, Chase, and
Absolutely.
wish you the best, man. I got to throw this one up really quick. Palmer said, "Can you bring Missoula on the staff?"
Yeah, I wish. He could be the head coach. He could be the head
He
coach.
could be the head coach. Yeah, he's big brain. He's what Pat McAfee says, a big brain
Yeah.
guy. What a run he had. Just what did you think about that, man? And how well do you know Joe?
Yeah, I don't know him super well. He actually came to. I mean, we run into each other. We obviously know each other, but he actually came to the TBT last year in Wheeling and showed some support. He was in the building, and obviously him and John Flowers are great friends. And I'm sure wherever he is in the summertime, if he's around a TV, he'll put on the TBT and watch us compete. And I'm super happy for him. Just kind of the steps he took to get where he was. I mean, he didn't skip any of them. So you got to respect a guy like that.
Absolutely, man, no doubt. Jonathan also said Chase Harler and Nate Adrian's are class acts.
Yeah, I wish Nate was still playing this year. His family actually just bought a marina in Deep Creek, Maryland. So he's helped running that in his off season. And I mean, obviously Nate's always welcome to play, but he had some family things he wanted to take care of, which, like I said, there's no harm or foul with that. It's a long season. All these guys play overseas. I played overseas. It's a 9-10 month season. So to give up 3 or 4 weeks of your time, that's a lot.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
So how much longer do you think you'll be playing overseas? Have you thought about that, or do you?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm done. I quit. I retired.
Did you already retire? I thought you played another year.
No, my last season was 2022, 2023 in Hungary when I came home.
That's right. We talked. That's right.
Yeah,
started
with the whole time, and then had another opportunity where I felt like I couldn't turn it down, and I accepted that, and I'm enjoying what I do.
Awesome, man. All right, guys. So we're gonna let Chase go. We've got some other news to get to. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up about the team, or anything else really quick though before?
Yeah, I think the last thing I'll say is I said this in another interview last week. It's a cool thing to bring all these guys. I mean, we don't have any guys on the roster that are from West Virginia, but when they get back into Morgantown, it's you can see it on their face. They're always excited to be back, and they're always they take pride in playing here and still representing WVU as they go overseas. But to get all these guys back, and a lot of these guys played on the same teams or almost the same teams, it's gonna be a special run, and I just hope that myself, I get the team prepared, and I know I will, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really excited for it.
We're gonna support the hell out of you, man, and whatever I can do for you personally, anything you need, and I'll continue to promote whatever you guys need over here.
Thank you.
Anything you need, man. Seriously. So. Wishing you the best, Chase, and thanks for making time this evening, brother. I know you had a lot going on this week, so
no problem.
It means a lot that you came on, man.
Yep. Thank you. I'll talk
All right,
to you.
guys. We'll talk to you later, Chase.
Yep.
All right, guys. So a couple other things to get to here on Hoops from the Hills. Before we get going on that, like the video. It helps when you do that. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Let's get this thing up to 2,000 like Mountaineer Paul Talks Football, and drop a comment below. A couple life updates really quick. Mark said he's only matching himself so far. I know, man. And I really appreciate the super chats. And I don't want to beg, but I do appreciate you doing it for me. So a couple life updates as well, guys. I was in the hospital the last few days. I'm going to have to lose some weight. So just, you guys always know, I'm extremely transparent with you guys. They found my heart is enlarged a little bit. It's working way too hard. I don't know exactly what's causing that yet. I have some stuff coming up this week. But that's why I wasn't able to report on the Tom Ostrom thing, along with some other stuff that has happened. So I'm going to take the time now to do that. I don't want anybody to worry. I'm not even assuming that you do, but I want you guys to know that I'm taking it serious, and it's been a long 4 years for me, for somebody that, I was in addiction for 15 years. If you don't know, now you know. I'm very honest about that. And unfortunately, my body was really ran down as a result of that. I have changed my life, and am 4 years clean, but the wreckage of your past sometimes it comes back. Just because I got clean doesn't mean my body forgot about the stuff I put it through. And so I'm dealing with things like I do now. And so this is a warning shot for anybody that maybe living that kind of lifestyle or knows somebody that does. You can maybe learn something from my story. I'm 39 years old and I'm dealing with heart problems. So, if I can ever be a sounding board for anybody that's dealing with that, absolutely reach out to me. I will give you all my time and resources. I know a lot of people, so certainly do that. All right, guys, so let's move on. I think I wrote an article on this on the website, so let me get over here to WVInsiders.com. And I thank you guys for the well wishes. Thank you, Doris. By the way, I saw your Dingus, West Virginia thing. I'm so happy to hear that you're from Dingus. Obviously, my last name is Rockle, so I'm sure you know a lot of Rockles, whether that's Larry, the game warden, or any of my cousins. I have several there that live in Dingus, and I have a lot of Muncie family as well there. So I'm sure, you probably know some people that I know. Thanks, Jonathan and Mark. I appreciate that, guys, very much. And then those of you over on X, which it says there's quite a few of you over there. I know you guys probably can't comment on this, but I appreciate you for being a part of this episode. Okay, so let's get over to basketball here. I believe. Let's see. Close. Nope. I apologize, guys. See, I've been out of it here the last couple of days, so I'll just go ahead and Google one about Ostrom being announced for the staff. And a lot of you guys already know about this. I get that too. All right, so here's from the Tennessean. We'll just go ahead and do that one since it's right there. Let's see, share screen. One other thing I wanted to tell you guys as well really quick before we move on any further is my hashtag is, if you don't have me on YouTube, it's ROCKEL 85. If you ever want to support the channel that way, you can. So just wanted to throw that in there. All right. Tom Ostrom leaving Vanderbilt basketball staff for West Virginia. This is big news, guys, by the way. Just so you know, this is really big news. Tom Ostrom is a huge get for us. And there's a reason he went to Vanderbilt, and it was to be close to his family. His son playing basketball somewhere, I believe, was what I was told. Less than 3 months after joining Mark Byington's staff, Tom Ostrom is leaving Vanderbilt for Vanderbilt basketball. A program spokesperson confirmed to the Tennessean on Monday that Ostrom was no longer a member of the staff. Jeff Goodman of Field of 68 reported that Ostrom is joining new West Virginia coach Darren DeVries. He formerly worked with DeVries at Drake. Ostrom has worked at Indiana, Florida, Arkansas, and Dayton. A rule change in 23 allows teams to have up to 5 on-court assistants, with 3 of the 5 being permitted to recruit off campus. Vanderbilt did not officially detail Ostrom's duties when he was hired in relation to younger assistants Rick Jay, John Crimmins, Xavier Joyner, and Matt Buckland. Byington was hired to replace Jerry Stackhouse, and the former coach parted ways with the Commodores in March. Vanderbilt finished 9-23 in 2023-2024. During the offseason, all but one player on the 23-24 roster departed the program for the portal, and Byington and his staff subsequently brought in 10 transfers to overhaul the roster. Did I miss something? Okay, no, I guess not. So this sounds like I'm not exactly sure what happened here, and I haven't been able to reach out to any sources on this because of, unfortunately, me being in the hospital. But sounds to me, I'm just guessing, and if some of you guys know, let me know in the comments. But it sounds like maybe things didn't work out according to plan there for Ostrom and Byington. Maybe, I know the initial, from what I was told when the hire happened from sources, that the initial reason, it wasn't because he and DeVries didn't get along or anything like that. It was just simply Nashville is a much cooler place to live in Morgantown, and I think most of us would agree with that. It's not like the biggest thing in the world to say Nashville's a damn cool town. And also there he has a son playing nearby at a local college or high school. Can't remember exactly the details. I have to go refresh. But so that was basically. Oh wow, you just took me all the way out asking that. That was my papaw. Sorry, I happened to see that out of the corner of my eye. Yeah, that was my papaw that passed away. If that's who you're talking about, Sherman Rockwell. Um, but my other papaw's name was Fred Muncie, who lived at the bottom there in Dingus. But anyway, so I believe that's what happened, and maybe because maybe his duties changed, or maybe something happened with his son. Even I don't know. He's no longer a part of that. So very interesting. But he's a big deal. He's a big get for us guys. He's a huge part of the Drake success from everything I've been told, and it was in line for some head coaching spots. So we're lucky to have him. I don't know how I don't know if we would have got some of those Drake players if he were on staff. Maybe we would have had a better shot. But overall, as a coach, I know he is extremely good. So that in and of itself is a win for me. Also, go back to my notes here. So I wrote it down right before I came on. Pretty big news coming out just a little bit ago. West Virginia is in the top 4 for Jamarian Bateman. So let's go over here to X and see what that's all about. All right. All right. Let's see. Bateman. Sorry about that, guys. I just had it pulled up on here. Now I can't even find it. uh, all right. Okay, so it's on Rivals, I believe, now that I'm looking at it. Stick with me, guys. Yeah, there we go. Found it. All right. Sorry about that. I wasn't prepared to bring this one up. All right, so West Virginia assistant Frazier has strong recruiting ties. West Virginia is in the process of putting together a roster for next season, but it's never too early to look to the future. With the hiring of Frazier, it's not so hard to do. Let's see. Here's the kid right here, Jamarian Bateman. So Academy of Science guard Jamarian Bateman is who this is. He is a 4-star, 104th nationally. In 247, he is a 54 overall player. And he just released his Final Four just not even a couple hours ago. West Virginia, Iowa State, 2 others. I am trying to find that article, but it's not showing itself just yet here. Let's see. I'd help if I spelled WVU right, though. Let's see. It's not coming up, but I just read the article right before I came on the show. I should have tabbed it, and I was worried about getting Chase on. But so this kid's a 4-star player, number 54 overall in the class of next year. And let me just tell you, this kid is an absolute stud. Just an absolute scoring machine. He would be a huge pickup for us. This staff is swinging for the fences, guys. Really, they are. Let's see. Let's see if I can. Science in Wisconsin. Milwaukee. Okay. Here we got him on 247 Sports. This is a little bit better of a picture here. All right, so on 247, he's a 93 overall. 220 on the composite, he's a 97. Wow, that's pretty big. 6'3", 170. So he's obviously not small, but he's right there in that 6'3", 6'4" range, which is right around what your wing player or your two guard to be. Sometimes point guard, if you're lucky, they're that tall. But I was hoping it would have some highlights on here. Clemson is the other school, guys, by the way, that's involved with him. But yeah, so it's Clemson, Iowa State, West Virginia, and one other spot. That's in the Final Four for the kid. So that's a big deal for us. Leo, yeah, Dylan Jay's a walk-on. Don't know a whole lot about the kid yet. Looked at some of his tape. He had some Division II offers, I think. I don't think he had any mid-major offers that I saw. So he's making the decision for him to do this. Whether that's good or not, I don't know. But yeah, so he is a walk-on though. And Jake Auer is another one. Yeah, those guys both I have also heard. I have seen nothing much official on them yet though, Leo. So I have to wait and see when the roster comes out exactly what the dealio is. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I saw both of those. Actually, that's how I knew the new coach that we just hired, not Ostrom, but the other one. I got a bunch of hair sticking out here. Was Cavell Witter. That's how I knew he was hired, because somebody tagged him. You know how sometimes when you're in a picture with somebody, it'll just tag you? He was tagged in a picture of Dylan Jay or Jake Auer, and somebody was like, hey, that's Cavell Witter. Why is he with guys saying he's going to West Virginia? And so I think that's why the staff put it out, because he was outed. So that was interesting. All right, guys. Appreciate you for joining the show this evening. Thank Chase for coming on, Chase Harler. Really appreciated him coming on. Like and subscribe. Keep coming back. And thank you, Silver Mark, for the super chats, man. It means a ton. I'll be doing football content tomorrow. It's been a couple days without, just getting back in the swing of things. So be looking for that. We'll definitely be talking about the huge signing of Brody McWhorter, and also some others that have signed the last couple of days. We're going to do a whole recruiting roundup, watch some film, talk about what makes these players really special. The football staff is killing it's not even a good word for it. They are crushing it. They are knocking it completely out of the park, farther than any staff has ever done in the history of West Virginia football, ever in the history of. And it's not close. We're talking about the 13th overall class, and the class is 26. Will it go back up? Yeah, it's going to. I doubt we finish there, but this is looking like it could be a top 20-ish class, guys, top 25, which we just don't do very often. We're usually in that 30 to 50 range. So sometimes worse if you count Holgerson's years. So yeah, so they're putting some real talent on the field. So looking forward to doing that, guys. All right, guys. Thank you for joining this live edition of Hoops from the Hills. I will talk to you guys tomorrow, but until then, this episode is over, and I am out.